Hey, what is up guys? Welcome back to another video, and in this video we are going to be continuing on with our C# tutorial series, and in this tutorial we are going to be taking a look at arrays. So we're going to be learning how we can create arrays of values and how we can reference those values that are in our arrays. So let's go ahead and get started, shall we? So, what is an array? Well, an array is a collection of values. And that's pretty much it, really. It's just a collection of values. There can be as many values as you need there to as you need there to be. But here's the thing about arrays. Generally speaking, arrays are not resizable. So, you can resize arrays yourself manually by various means, but out of the box, there's no like methods or anything like that you can use to resize the array by default. Okay, so arrays are generally meant for fixed lengths of data. So keep that in mind. Okay, there is an arrays class that allows you to, say, copy arrays. It allows you to sort arrays, all kinds of stuff like that. But a normal array, you can't really, like, say, resize it or anything like that. There's not as much you can do on the array object itself as you can with using the arrays class. But let's go ahead and create our first array. So in our main method, here, we can go ahead and start by giving the kind of data that we want in our array. So let's say we want an array of strings. So string, and then to tell C# that this is an array, we need opening and closing square brackets like this. So this is going to be an array of strings. Give it a name. And we're going to call this names. And we're going to set this equal to a new string array. But inside this second set of square brackets, we're gonna give it the length of the array, and in this case, we're gonna say this is an array of 5 names, of 5 strings. So now this is our array. We've created a string array called names with a length of 5. So this array can only contain 5 strings, nothing more. Now, how do we actually store names in this array? Well, when you do it like this, when you do an array like this, you need to assign a value to a specific position in the array by referencing what's called an index. Now, an index essentially is a reference to the position within an array. It's an integer. It starts at 0. So the index is 0 based, where 0 is the first place in the array, 1 is the second, 2 is the third, 3 is the fourth, so on and so on. So to, say, add the name John to the first index of the array, we need names opening square bracket, 0, close square bracket, equals, open quote, John. Like that. And then we keep going like that for each individual element of the array. So names 1 equals Sarah. Names 2 equals Beth. Names, let's see. Names 3 equals Jack. And finally, names 4 and we're going to set names 4 equal to, we'll say Dan. Okay? So we've got John, we got Sarah, we got Beth, we got Jack, and we have Dan. Now, the same way that we went and assigned values to the different elements of the array is also how we go and reference the values in the array. We just don't assign anything to it. So name, open square bracket, 0, close square bracket, is how you would reference the value of the first element in the array. And, 1 for the second, 2 for the third, so on and so on. And that's great, but what if we want to loop through the contents of the array and then display those names in the console individually? Well, we can do this with the for loop. So in our main method below where we initialized all the elements of the array with values, we can go ahead and do a for int I equals 0. We always want it to start, well, not always, but for this particular case, we want this to start at the first index of the array. I is less than. Now, here we want to have I is less than however long the array is. You could do 5 here because we know we know the length is 5, but you're not always going to know the length of the array. Sometimes you're going to have an array where it's populated with data from an API or something like that, and you're not going to know the length of the array. So an array gives you a specific property to get the length of the array, and it's called length. Okay, so we can do names dot length, and we do I plus plus. Okay, so now that we have this, we need to print out each name to the console. And to do that, we can do console.writeLine. And inside of the parentheses for the console WriteLine method call, we need to do names, open square bracket, I, and close square bracket, where I is the index. That's why we use I generally for index. Now, if we do a Control F5 in our console, you can see all the names listed as a result of looping through that array. So that is how we can create an array, reference the values within that array, and loop through that array while also referencing the values without hard coding a specific index. Now, in the next video, we're gonna take a look at using what's called a for each to loop through an array, so we don't even have to use an index. So that pretty much does it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.